there's obviously a ton of speculation about who could be the next head coach in Dallas. According to our guys at Fox Bet, Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels is the betting favorite to land the job. Brian Westbrook, I ask you, who should be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
There's a couple characteristics that you need. First of all, you need to be able to develop quarterbacks because Dak went through a major change from last year to this year. He got better at reading defenses. He understood where the ball should go, and he was a more accurate quarterback throughout most of the season. So you have to continue that maturation for Dak. So you need to be able to develop a quarterback. Also, probably more important than what you do with Dak, you have to be able to push back on Jerry just a little bit and say, Jerry, I understand this is your team and you want to run things one way. However, allow me to be the head coach. Allow me to be the face of the franchise in a way so that after games, I'm speaking and I'm developing and delivering the message to the media so that there's never a situation that the players are saying, hey, well, we have a head coach, but I can just go to your owner and figure things out a different way. And that's going to be the biggest problem. And so when you look at all those things, it has to be someone that's been in the league for some time. He just has some type of credibility. I think Josh McDaniels certainly could be a guy. I love Matt Rule, even though he hasn't been in the NFL for an extended period. But every place that he's gone, the guys have gotten better. He has taken a losing program in Temple, made them better. Same thing with Baylor, made them better. He's made the guys believe in him. So I can see them going a lot of different ways. But if that guy doesn't have the ability to develop quarterbacks and push back on Jerry, it's another fail as far as a head coach in Dallas.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You got to have a strong personality as your head coach. You have to have somebody that has the confidence and the conviction in what they're doing so they can push back against Jerry Jones when he brings up ideas that don't make sense in terms of doing what's in the best interest of the football team. Now, I don't want to knock Matt Rule or Lincoln Riley or any of these other prospective head coaching candidates from the college ranks, but where the Dallas Cowboys are at in terms of winning, they're in their window right now to compete for a championship. I don't think you have time to hire a head coach that doesn't understand what it takes from the head coaching role in the NFL in order to be able to win at the highest level. So that's why I would lean towards somebody like a Josh McDaniels. I mean, I know Mike McCarthy's not in consideration for the job, but somebody along those lines that's actually done it before, because that person has that working knowledge. That person understands what it means to be able to build the structure where you can have sustained success and put guys in position where they do what they do best and keep them out of positions where they get exposed with their deficiencies. So that's why I like the idea of Josh McDaniels coming back as a head coach. You know, in life, you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes. And so that 2-year stint that he had in Denver, I think him having the opportunity to go back to New England and be the offensive coordinator and try to figure out where he went wrong in his first time around as a head coach, it's probably going to do him some good in his next opportunity as a head coach. And I think that should be in Dallas this offseason.
I think Josh McDaniels would be a home run. I don't love how he left Indianapolis at the altar. I think it was unprofessional. I don't think that's how you do business. The whole league, though, seems to have gotten over it, so I should get over it as well. Everyone wants to interview him. Nobody seems to care about that. They assume his word will be better this time around than it was last time around. And while he failed in Denver, I actually don't really care about that. If we were ranking head coaches in the league, 3 of them were on their second job. Pete Carroll's on his second job. Bill Belichick's on his second job. Andy Reid's on his second job. Andy Reid's the only one who you would say didn't fail at his first stop. Andy Reid had just, after a decade plus in Philly, it was time to move on, but no one would say that was a fit. But Pete Carroll was not successful his time in New England. Went to college, learned from his mistakes, learned how more to be a head coach. Bill Belichick was not successful his first time in Cleveland. Now, Coach Mangini can tell us they were on the precipice, they were on the cusp, but that was not nobody looked at Belichick as that was a successful time as a head coach. He learned from it and now became the greatest head coach we've ever seen. The only person I would consider without head coaching experience in the NFL is Urban Meyer. And that's not because Urban's a friend of the show and Urban works with Fox. It's because Urban's track record of success is unimpeachable. He took Utah to a BCS bowl. He took Bowling Green to high level. Utah to a BCS bowl game. National championships, plural, at Florida. National championship at Ohio State. Undefeated 1 year at Ohio State when they weren't even eligible to go to the college football championship. So Urban, I think, has enough cachet that similar to Pete Carroll, by the way, when he we walked into Seattle. Those USC teams were so successful and had so many pros. You had guys who were already pros who could ask teammates or friends across the league, what type of coach is this person?
Similar to what happened with Jimmy Johnson coming from the U to Dallas.
University of Miami, absolutely right. And that obviously was wildly successful for them there. The other element of this, and the reason why I wouldn't do the Matt Rule, Lincoln Riley thing with the Cowboys, but might do it for the Giants, might do it if Washington hadn't just hired Ron Rivera, for instance, or Carolina if they're interested. If you're rebuilding, I think having a young coach kind of learn on the job is okay. I think that the Giants, Carolina, they know we're not competing. No matter what Dave Gettleman tries to tell you, we're not competing for a championship this year. So if you have some moments where like, okay, I need to do that better, so be it. The Cowboys are in win now mode. I want to ask you this before we wrap up, Brian. If when you were playing, because you were on some damn good Eagles teams, you guys thought we had a Super Bowl opportunity, and all of a sudden you have a coach who you feel like is either in-game decision-making, doesn't quite know how to run a locker room. How do you think the veterans in the locker room respond to that if he's a young guy out of college who hasn't proven himself in the league?
Yeah, I think it would be a problem, especially if this is my last couple years of being able to win Super Bowls or win games in the NFL. There'll probably be an issue, but this is how you overcome that. If you're a young coach, if you're Matt Rule or even Lincoln Riley coming into a situation like the Cowboys, you go get some veteran coaches, guys that have been in the league before to help you advise this football team. That gives you instant credibility with the guys on the team. You find some old coaches, the guys that have been coaches in the NFL already, put them on your staff. They're going to help lead you in that way. I kind of want to go back to Josh McDaniels because it's starting to make more sense to me. When you look at that New England offense, especially the last couple of years, they've been creative. They find different ways every single week to run the football. Next week, they're throwing the ball to the slot. The next week, they're throwing the ball outside into the tight ends. So they've been creative. That's something that the Dallas Cowboys need to do immediately. They've been multiple as well. They can do a lot of different formations, a lot of different sets, a lot of different personnels. Again, that's something that the Dallas Cowboys need to do as well. So when you think about all these things go into the thought process. All these things may have been discussed in those meetings with Jason Garrett as far as what the team needs to do next, the type of leader that you need. The Dallas Cowboys don't need the same type of leader as a team like the Cleveland Browns. They need a guy that does. We're not talking about discipline here. We're just talking about bringing the guys together in a better offense.
And if they are going to go first-time head coach, offensive mind from the pro ranks, Eric Bieniemy and Byron Leftwich. I don't know why Byron's name hasn't been mentioned. You can't blame the interceptions on from Jameis on Byron, but he threw for only 4 quarterbacks ever thrown for more yards than Jameis threw for this year. Those are 2 names I'd keep an eye on. Coming up, will Sunday be Tom Brady's last game as a Patriot? Josh McDaniels goes to Dallas. Tom Brady follows him. Dak's a free agent. That's ahead next. First things first.
That's not happening.